If you don't believe in yourself, how can anybody else? If you don't have a vision for yourself, if you can't see your vision, your future, before it's tangibly there, how can anybody else see it? Some of the greatest men in history, be it kings, conquerors, presidents, whatever. Some of the greatest men, the wealthiest men of power, of prestige, of honor, were some of the most delusional people by normal or modern or really mediocre standards. The everyday man thinks this small, this big. All it takes is a quick conversation with some normie, and like you'll quickly realize that most people have their heads so high up in the clouds that like there really is no pulling them back down. Like a lot of people, most people, depending on where you're at, where you're living, what circles you're in, most people, a good majority of people, man, they're cooked, and they're really not worth talking to because they're caught up in the system. They're caught up in the regular 9 to 5, or hustle culture, doom scrolling, just whatever the flavor of the month is for them. And you could really just like take them all and put them in this box of just this normie, like, I don't like to use stuff like the Matrix and like, those terms, these like internet terms that like just are all over, and they're just like, what we use, I guess, nowadays. But there really is the best way to summarize it is most people are just in the Matrix, man. Most people are, whatever Fox News tells them, whatever CNN or MSNBC or one of these, whatever normie ass news channel you want to take it, they're all on the same page. Most people are on the same page. And if you want to be a man or even a woman, but I know my demographic. I'm speaking to the men mostly, especially when it comes to leadership and accountability, right? You can't be dipping your toes in modernity and then wanting to be great. It's just not how it works. It's not gonna work. Most people are okay with being subpar. Most people truth be told, I really feel like most people nowadays don't even have standards. Like, to say someone has low standards is almost like giving them credit, because today's day and age, and I ain't trying to sound like an old boomer, back in my day, like, there's always been struggle, there's always been hard times, there's always been shitty people, there's always been just garbage. That's nothing new under the sun, as they say. But because we have, high-speed internet, Wi-Fi, social media, we're able to see in real time, not just our neighborhood, our community, our village, but the whole world. Globally, we're connected, and you can see in real time the highs and the lows of humanity. And most people are they're okay with their mental masturbation. They're okay with their whatever their employer feeds them. They're okay just getting by, And most people will say they want more, but most people really aren't willing to pay the taxes that come with that. They're not willing to pay the price for greatness. And it's a heavy burden, and it's a high price tag. And it's often very thankless, and there's no validation. There's no crowd cheering for you, like at the end of Rocky or some shit. It's a lot of thankless work. It's a lot of doing the right thing when you have every right, every rhyme and reason and motivation to cut corners and do the wrong thing when no one's looking. It's getting up and putting in the work that no one else wants to do. It's true what they say, man. It's lonely at the top. I'll wait for this plane to go by. It's lonely at the top, man. And I'm not saying I got it all figured out. I'm not saying I'm exactly where I want to be. But every time you achieve a goal, you have to achieve a new goal, right? There's never a finish line in life. When you die, when they bury you, when you're when you're gone, that's when it's over. But it ain't over till it's over. And ideally, we're always moving the goalposts, and when you achieve something, you push for greater things. And where I'm currently at, what I've been through, and what I'm willing to endure for what I want, for what I envision, I realized that most people ain't cut out for it, man. Most people ain't cut out for it, and that's okay. It's less competition. I mean, at the end of the day, it's really only you versus you. You shouldn't even be looking over at the next person. You can look at the next person maybe for some type of motivation or guidance. That's why it's important to have elders around, someone you look up to that you want to kind of like, if someone has something that you would like to have for yourself in your own form, right? It's good to consult with people and definitely have a circle of people who are very like-minded. That's important. But always remember, it's you versus you. And you should want to be the greatest version of yourself, whatever that looks like. Because my greatest version of me is not going to look the same as you or the next person. Nor should you want it to. We're all different people. We walk similar paths, but we have to walk them in our own shoes. And understand that, again, most people aren't cut out for what they think they want. Most people are okay with getting fed crumbs and getting a pat on the head, like a house-trained dog, And that ain't for me, and that ain't for you. I'd hope, whoever is in the demographic and is in, what was gonna watch my videos. I want greater for you, like I want greater for myself. But to come full circle, most people are not gonna get it. Most people are not gonna understand. Most people are gonna look at you like you're crazy. And it's very isolating, but that's okay. You gotta be okay with not being okay. You gotta be okay with making other people uncomfortable. That's just life. You're not here to appease and seek validation. You're here for a reason. You're here for a greater purpose that maybe at this very moment you can't see and you don't understand, and maybe you're going through something really trying and hard, right? But that's okay. Understand that your struggles are blessings if you allow them to be, right? Because some people, it never pans out to be that, and that's okay. That's the decision that each individual has to make for themselves. But I want better for you. I want better for me. And keep it keep it somewhere in your mind that, you don't need to share all your ideas. You don't need to share all your beliefs because, again, most people just aren't going to pick up what you're putting down, man. And that's okay. And that's a good compass for you to see, am I hitting my stride? Am I going the way that I want to go? You know what I'm saying? If you share an opinion and views and beliefs that 99% of people have, you could kind of just chalk yourself up to like NPC status, honestly, because it's like, what great value is it for you to share the same exact carbon copy ideas and beliefs that someone else is parroting that probably isn't even their own original idea? And once again, this is not me sitting up on my, on a pedestal saying I got it figured out. No, that's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that I'm figuring it out for me. I'm figuring out for me, and I've figured out that most people aren't gonna get that. And I'm cool with that because you gotta be delusional. You gotta be, when people invent things, they're thinking in the same wavelength as the next person who's just, hey, you watched that game last week? Hey, you see the Raiders? Oh, you see who they picked up? Now, don't get me wrong. I enjoy sports. I enjoy, mindless bullshit too. I like listening to music. I listen to hood rat shit. I watch hood rat shit. I like to do occasionally some hood rat shit. That's neither here nor there though, because again, that's just life. That's part of life, and it's okay to have hobbies. It's okay to, you know, have things that are just not all about work. I'm not saying this ain't a grind culture 24/7. You gotta grind. It's all about the grind. That hustle culture shit is bullshit too. Like, I'm not talking about that. You gotta live your life. You gotta have, enjoy life, man. It's okay to have a slice of pizza. It's okay to have cheeseburgers and fries. It's okay from time to time. Balance, all things in balance, right? What I'm saying is your purpose has to be bigger and greater than that, and you got to know when to get on track and when to be on point and lock in. Because again, there's an old saying. I'm probably gonna butcher it, but it's something to the effect of, no wind, no wind is favorable for a ship that doesn't have a destination, right? Again, I know I butchered it, but it's something to the effect of, if you don't know, if you don't have a goal, if you don't have vision, if you don't have destination, if you don't know where you're going, then no matter what blessings, no matter what come up, no matter what opportunity presents itself, no matter what things are highly in your favor, it won't matter. It'll never pan out, and you won't benefit from anything ever if you got no destination, if there's no end goal. If you don't know what you're doing, you're never going to get to anywhere. And it doesn't matter if you're lucky, if you're blessed, if, again, it doesn't matter. You'll screw it up and you won't see your blessings because there's nothing to achieve. There's no blessing to be had. So the next time, you deal with someone who's kind of just like, truth be told, you shouldn't even be dealing with everyday, normie, dumbass people, but you can't help it, right? We all got to do what we got to do. You got to, as Jesus said, be in the world, not of the world. Separate yourself. We're ordered to keep ourselves separated. And oftentimes that looks like, you look down on people or you think you're better than them. Fuck it. It is what it is. Like I said, you got to be okay with making people uncomfortable. You got to be able to know that, like, yeah, we're not the same. I got a vision. How many inventors, how many men of prominence in history that we still talk about to this day did the people around them call them crazy? You're crazy. You're crazy. You'll never be able to achieve that. You're out of your mind. You'll never be able to get there. How many of those stories could you imagine if people listened? Could you imagine if Alexander the Great, and again, like, I don't care what you think about these people morally. I don't care what you think about these people, that's neither here nor there. I ain't talking about that. Everybody has their shit qualities about them. Everybody has their positives and their negatives. We ain't talking about them morally or ethically. I'm talking about the accomplishments that to them were worthy of conquering, right? Authors, any man of prominence you want to pick who's achieved something that to them was of a higher standard, of a higher achievement, were delusional. They were out of their freaking minds, and you have to be. You have to have that childlike wonder, that imagination, that creativity, and you have to have it well before anyone else has it. You have to be able to see things well before anyone else can see them if you really want to achieve that. Ask yourself, what is it that you really want? Ask yourself what it is that matters to you and kill all that noise. But you have to believe. You have to see it. Where energy goes, energy flows. Only you can achieve what you want. And even if you end up underachieving or achieving shittiness and your life sucks, understand that, yeah, there's a lot of outside factors that you can't control, but that doesn't matter. You can't control it, so there's no need to even speak on it. But understand that you may not be able to make things better in that moment, but you can sure as hell not make it worse. And oftentimes, we make things like tremendously worse. A neighborhood dog. We make things tremendously worse for ourselves that we really don't need to. So again, ask yourself, where do you see yourself? What do you want out of yourself? And, again, a good way to measure that and to see for sure if you're on the right track is if you ain't afraid of rejection, if you're not afraid of failure, if you're not afraid of the future and like, oh no, like what if I can't do this? What if this goal's bigger than me? What if? If you're not feeling that, then forget it. You're on the wrong track. You need to be afraid. You need to have something to conquer. You need to have something bigger than you. David needed Goliath for us to even have that, right? That story. If he beat a guy that was his size or smaller, nobody would care. Nobody would be talking about it. It wouldn't be written in scripture. It wouldn't be a well-known story. Forget it. We only remember and we know the things that captivate us because it seems like this greater, obstacle that like, how the hell is it possible? How can anyone beat a giant? How can I get over this obstacle, this wall, this thing? How can I beat this? How can I get through it? It starts here. I've said this in many other videos and I'll continue to harp on that. It starts here. It starts with you. It starts with a decision. And it starts with having to be okay with not being okay. It starts with having to be able to be labeled crazy, delusional, out of your mind, an idiot. You're crazy. You'll never get that. You want that. You want the masses. You want the normies. You want the blue pillars. You want the goofballs out here to just look at you and be like, this dude is too much. This guy is like, good. I don't want to be like you. I don't want to be a loser like you. I don't want to be a bum like you. I don't want to be an underachiever. I don't want to be Mr. Oh, well, happy wife, happy life. Ha ha ha. I don't want to be any of that. We're not the same. Want better for yourself, man.